I'm Graham Elwood, and this is the Political Vigilante. Dark times in America, guys. Calls for no lighting. That doesn't make any sense. So I saw the movie I Am Not Your Negro, directed by Raoul Peck. The documentary about the author and sort of poet James Baldwin. And it goes over had started writing a book in 1979 about race in America. And he was focusing on the lives and deaths of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Medgar Evers. And this documentary is a fantastic film. The filmmaker did a great job. As someone who's made 2 feature documentaries myself, I love documentaries, so it's an excellent film because it utilizes several things, which is a bunch of archival footage, which is used very effectively, of James Baldwin in interviews on TV, primarily in the 60s and 70s. It uses a lot of movies and TV shows that he grew up watching and references. And it also uses interview footage with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And some with Medgar Evers, but mainly Dr. King and Malcolm X. And some interviews with Bobby Kennedy and other people of that era. And the transcripts of his book that were never published are read by Samuel L. Jackson. But they're great because it's not Samuel L. Jackson being all Samuel L. Jackson. I didn't even know it was him at first. I was like, God, I know this voice. But it was recorded as though it was Samuel L. Jackson was like alone at his desk with a microphone and a glass of scotch recording late at night. Maybe he had a illuminated Batman drawing. But it really, and also intercuts, archival footage of riots in the 60s and 70s and all that awful stuff. And the director very wisely then picks footage from modern times, like the Ferguson riots and a lot of current riots. And it really, James Baldwin, he's a poet, so the interview footage, I could listen to him talk for hours because he speaks in poetic terms. But the film is haunting. It's haunting and poetic. It's really showing America how awful it is. And it's worth watching because it relates to a lot of the things I've been talking about on this show, the articles I'm reading, and how Trump is doing some awful stuff, racism and Muslim ban and ending Planned Parenthood and all this stuff, or trying to defund it. He'd like to end it. And just disregarding the Constitution and the executive branch and the 3 branches, he's just disregarding all of it. This documentary, and one of the things I've talked about on this show, is how really all Trump is doing is just flagrantly showing how ugly America really is. He's just not hiding it or dressing it up or pretending. And that's what James Baldwin talks about in this film. And I saw it on the big screen, and normally I wouldn't say that this movie needs to be watched on the big screen. Like most documentaries, I would say, you don't need to watch this documentary. It's a great documentary. Like 13th is a great documentary. You can watch it on Netflix and it's fine, and it's very relatable and makes great points, and it's emotionally very charged and effective. And it's, that director, Ava DuVernay, did a great job of. But this I would recommend seeing on the big screen, because seeing Dr. King in an interview on the big screen and Malcolm X on the big screen, and the footage of, you know, a young black girl crossing the color barrier going to an all-white school in the South, and that just sea of white Southerners screaming at her and holding up signs and Confederate flags and swastikas and all this stuff. And you see that on the big screen. And then you see James Baldwin speak and how articulate he is. This movie will be, in my opinion, effective no matter how you watch it. But I think to really gain the full impact of it, you need to watch it on the big screen. And he talks about how America, mainly white America, needs to ask itself, why do you, if you're going to have like a poor black person that you don't like and that you keep down, he's like, America, you need to ask yourself why you need that, why you've created that. And America, he talks about, and then this is from the 60s and 70s, he's saying this, like, it's scary for black men. I don't feel safe here. That's why I lived in Paris for a long time, he says in multiple interviews. And he says, look at your TV shows, look at your films. And the director does an amazing job of then cutting in current TV shows and current news footage of school shootings. And America, we're just, Baldwin says it's like a country. He goes, America is scared. Like America, and I watch that movie and I think, yeah, America is afraid of death. Other societies, other cultures accept it. We're all going to die. That's going to happen to all of us. Every single person on this planet is going to die one day. And what happens after death and why we're here and all those are the big questions, and who knows. And that's, religion swoops in and tells you this is what it is or isn't. And Americans more than any other are so afraid of death. It's why, the gun people are, you gotta have a gun, but if someone tries to steal your stuff or they try to get you, you gotta defend your, like, it sounds like some gun owners, they feel like that they're immortal. Like owning a gun makes you immortal. And if you want to own a gun and you think you need it for protection, okay. But there's a line from the movie Spotlight, which I think is an amazing film. Stanley Tucci is talking to Mark Ruffalo, and Stanley Tucci's character is Armenian and Mark Ruffalo's character is Portuguese. And they're sitting there talking, and Stanley Tucci goes, I don't know. This town, these people, they think they're better than everyone else. I mean, look at how they treat their children. And it's such a valid point. Like, in Spotlight, he's talking specifically of the Irish Catholics in Boston and the Catholic Church, and they think they're better than I was raised Irish Catholic. So this very much relates to me. And yeah, the Irish Catholics think they're so much better, and Notre Dame is this, great place. My brother and I are the first men on my mom's side of the family to not go to Notre Dame. The only other men on my mom's side of the family that didn't go to the Notre Dame were the ones that were born in Ireland and never came over here, like my great-great-great-grandparents. And America, look what we are. Look what we've become. Greed, violence. We're an ugly, violent society. And we live in this fake land where America doesn't want to know how the sausage is made. It really doesn't. And we have nice houses and cars, and America doesn't want to make the connection. America is disconnected from everything. Because in America, you don't have to walk, 5 miles each way to get drinkable water, like in huge sections of the world. In America, you don't, is there going to be enough food is not really a question. There's some people struggling, but the poverty level in America is nothing like it is in 75% of the world. people drive around in an SUV and then their kid gets asthma and they don't see the connection. You know, they put a support the troops thing on bump sticker on their SUV or their any kind of gas car, and they don't see that so many of the wars in Iraq, like in the Middle East, but specifically the one had in Iraq, is about oil. And America was born on slavery and stealing the land from Native Americans. It was like, make America great again. I've said before, it's like, when was it so great? Slavery? Was it genocide of Native Americans? Or was it when women didn't have the right to vote? Or the Great Depression? Or labor unions getting, police sent after them? Or was it the Japanese internment camps? Is that when America was so great? Or was it blacks on the back of the bus? Is that when America was great? Or was it the Vietnam War? Or was it Watergate? Was it Watergate when America was so great? Is that when America was great? Is it, when was it? When the deregulation that's happened? When Reagan, the trickle-down economics, the Iran-Contra scandal, was that when America was so great? Or was it the first Gulf War? Was that when America was so great? Or was it when Bill Clinton signed the, 3 strikes law that put a bunch of black men in prison? Is that when it was so great? Or when has it been so great? When Bush and then Obama just attacked people in Muslim countries? Like, everyone's so afraid, Obama's a Muslim. Really? He blows a lot of them up with drone strikes. The movie 13th is an excellent film. In my opinion, it's going to win the Academy Award for Best Documentary because it's more palatable for Americans. There's laws that have been misused. There's this organization, ELEC, and this is not a slam on 13th. It's a great documentary. It's a slam on America. So 13th, it's easy to say, over there, we got to change that law or that organization, ELEC. We need to do something over there. James Baldwin and this director takes James Baldwin's thoughts and ideas and puts it on you, America. We all got to look in the mirror. And that movie, I'm Not Your Negro, takes abstract thought. It takes real deep, painful introspection that America does not want to do. America does not want to have this conversation. They just don't. They just want to sweep it under the rug and put a Band-Aid on something and say, we fixed it. We fixed it, And the richest country in the history of the world should not have ghettos. It should not have homeless. It shouldn't have these things, and it does, and it's ugly, and it's awful. And you watch this movie. I loved this movie. I thought, this is awesome. I'm so glad they were saying this, but I bet you a bunch of Americans are going to watch this film and just be like, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. They don't want to deal with it. Mainly white America doesn't want to face this. The Trump election made I know a lot of white friends of mine who are like, oh my God, I had no idea America was this racist. Yeah, I did. I've traveled around it as a stand-up comic. I've always known it was this racist. My high school was 40% minority. I've always known how racist America is. So watch this movie if you can. Tell people about it. And tell people about this channel. I don't know if it's doing any good. I don't know if it's helping anybody. I'm struggling every day just to pay my bills, No one put a gun to my head and told me to get into show business. It's just hard. I like this YouTube because I have complete control over it and I can say whatever I want. And it's a little therapeutic for me, a little cathartic. So if you dig what I'm saying here, and I try to respond to all your comments, tell people about it. But I don't see a lot of hope for America. I'm trying to have hope, but I don't even have hope a lot in just my daily life because the middle class has been so squeezed out. It's why Trump resonated with so many of these like white working class people is because for the first time since the Depression, there's a lot of poor white people in America. And they don't know what to do. That's why they're so mad, and that's why it's easy then to blame Muslims or Mexico or whatever. Like even that, everything is America is just like there's Muslim people. There's people from Muslim countries wanting to come here because there's a lot of countries we've kind of helped stir up war. People want to escape drug cartel violence in Mexico that we create. If America didn't have a need to buy drugs, there probably wouldn't be any drug cartels in Mexico beheading people. We create this awfulness and then we want to blame everybody else. America is like the nice house on the street with the wife, the mom, and the dad, and the two kids, and the couple of cars in the driveway. And you think, wow, that family's really got it together. And inside, you find out, like, you know, the dad's an abusive alcoholic, and the mom's a pill popper, and the kids are getting beaten and molested, and the dad's an embezzling from his company, and the mom, you know, gives blowjobs on the side for, you know, it's just an awful lie. It's just the whole family is a filthy fucking lie. But from the outside, it looks great. Everyone's happy, and the kids are getting good grades, and super perfect, great, super America double plus good.